Getting your knees to work correctly in the swing is not a really tricky thing. A lot of players feel like they've got to move their knees all over the place, but that can interfere with both how your ability to apply pressure to the ground and also to your overall balance and stability. Let's have a look today at what your knees should be doing and what some checkpoints are to ensure that your knee movement is good quality movement. In talking about knees, let's start with how we set up and what are the checkpoints at setup. First of all, at address, my knees are slightly flexed, so when we're looking from here, a good checkpoint is that the front of your knee is going to be about level with the end of your laces there. So if you're standing with good posture, that vertical line would also go through to about the back of your shoulder. So when I'm setting myself up, I do have my knees just very slightly unlocked, so that'll help me with my balance and also allow me then to move more correctly when I'm swinging the club. If I have a look from front on, my kneecap is sort of aligned with my shoe, so I haven't got my knees turned in, nor have I got my knee rotated out at the start. Both toes are turned out perhaps 5 or 10 degrees, and my kneecap is sort of aligned with that. So that helps me to set my hip joints as well as my knees and my ankles. So that's my start point. So if your feet are sort of turned out too much or turned in at all, then that's going to influence what happens through the knees. Now during the swing itself, as I swing the club away from the ball, my hips are tilted forward, so you can see there's like my belt line here is tilted down. Now when I swing the club back, if you watch my hip joint here, my right hip, as I swing back, my right hip is going back and it's going up. Now because it goes back and up, it is going to affect what my knee does because my foot's not moving. But as I swing back, we can see my knee has straightened just a little bit. I'm definitely not locking that knee ever. So my hip goes back, the knee straightens a little bit, and that's pretty much it for my right leg in the backswing. If we look at what's happening with that right knee as I swing back from here, my hip turns and I've got a little bit of a twist with the knee. Now I'm careful not to allow the knee to twist too much because now I'm going to become unstable through my right foot. So as I swing back, I'm turning into my hip, and that knee stays relatively stable. Like I said, it's moved a little bit because my hips moved back, but other than that, not too much. Now I've still got this sense of strong balance and force through that right leg because I'm taking most of the pressure into the right leg as I swing the club back. If we have a look at what the left knee is doing in the backswing, because I'm turning my hips, my left hip is also going to change location. So it's moving a little bit forward and around. Now because my hip moves forward and around, my left knee is going to move in. Now a good checkpoint is that when I swing the club back to the top of my swing, my upper left leg is pretty much vertical. Now the amount of movement that I've got through my knee here and through my ankle depends a little bit on the flexibility that I've got through my hip and my knee and my ankle. But when I swing back, if my knee goes forward, so we can see from down the line here, if my knee goes forward, you can see my whole body shifting forward. If my left knee doesn't move in, if it stays out here, then my body can't turn. If I was just standing up and turning to my right, my knees would move sort of similarly to what they would in the golf swing. The big difference in the golf swing, of course, is I'm tilted forward, and so that's going to change that movement there. So as I'm going back, I've got this motion where my right knee is changing location but not really changing the bend very much. It's not locked into place, nor is it straightening. My left knee is moving in a little bit and getting to a point where it's pointing somewhere near the ball or upper legs vertical. Either checkpoint's fine. When I swing the club the other way, my hips are shifting forward, so of course that's going to change my knee location. So from here, as I'm moving forward at the start of the downswing, I'm only moving forward to a point where my left leg is vertical. Now, because I've moved forward, my knees have moved. I haven't tried to move my knees. They've been moved, again, just because my hips have moved. So we can see that as I move forward, my right knee starts to come in. Again, pretty natural movement just because my hips are moving that way, and my left knee becomes vertical. Then from here, as I'm pushing into the ground through my left foot, my hips are going to continue to turn, so the right knee continues to move in. And as I complete that motion, because my right hip's located or moved right around to, say, here, now my heel's been brought up off the ground. So as I've swung through, I haven't tried to drive my knees or do anything with them, because I'm applying pressure to the ground and moving and applying force with the combination of my body turn and applying pressure to the ground. So any extra knee movement there is going to upset all of that motion. So when I'm swinging back and through, again, little checkpoints, backswing, my hips have turned, knee flexors remain fairly constant. As I move forward, I'm back to here vertical, my knee's still bent, but then it straightens as I'm pushing into the ground. And again, the change of location and also the tilting of my hips affects what the back knee does. So remember, all of this knee movement is really just a combination of your hip turn and how you're using the pressure against the ground through your feet. Use the guides if you're moving your knees correctly, if you're applying pressure correctly to the ground through your feet, moving your hips correctly, your knee movement will be good.